Welcome back to another episode of Stompbox Breakdown. Now, I like chorus. It's probably my favorite effect. But not everyone feels the same way, and I get it. So today we're going to look at the boss dimension effect, which just might be the chorus effect for people who don't like chorus effects. Now, your basic chorus effect, which this is not, works by delaying an incoming signal, say 35 milliseconds, and then using a low frequency oscillator to vary that delay time back and forth. Then you reintroduce the original signal to that delayed signal, and you wind up with a doubled or thickened effect. In theory, it sounds like two people playing the exact same thing, only with the slightest difference between them. To use an overused term, it adds depth and dimension. And you see this is the basis of a lot of time-based effects. Copy the signal, delay the signal, cycle the amount of delay, shape, tone, add filters to taste. Unfortunately, a lot of people hear the word chorus and they think of something like this. Or maybe something like this. And effects like that certainly have their time and place, but maybe you don't want an effect that just screams, "Hey everyone, I'm using a chorus pedal." And I think maybe that was the motivation behind the Boss DC2 dimension effect. This effect began as the Roland SDD320, a big old black rack mount unit with a couple of buttons, a level meter, and not much else on the front. But inside, it's got a ton of circuitry to create two separate bucket brigade delay lines. And like a regular chorus, it uses an LFO, low frequency oscillator, to set that delay time of each line, but one of them is inverted from the other. So as one is increasing in delay, the other one is decreasing in delay, giving us something like this. Roland put the essence of that into a stomp box, and the DC2 dimension effect was born. And what you're hearing is not only the effect of the delay itself, but the effects of the compressing and expanding of the signal to fit into that bucket brigade delay line, plus an additional high-pass filter. All that is what gives us that warm, rich, modulated sound literally at the push of a button. The effect is sometimes called a motionless chorus. It's not really motionless, it's just that you don't notice the sweep of that oscillator because there's another one mixed in there doing the exact opposite. And just to drive home the difference between this and a regular chorus, here's a clean signal. Here's that clean signal with a Boss CE2W. And here's the DC2 Waza pedal. Now let's talk about this pedal, this DC2W. This came out in 2018. It's all analog. It's meant to emulate not only the DC2 pedal, but the SDD320. That rack mount SDD320 had 4 buttons. 3 of them were white, and mode 4 was gray. Gray was the least subtle setting, we'll say. And it's the same with the DC2W. You get mode 1. Mode 2. Mode 3. And mode 4. But you can also put it into SDD320 mode, and then you can press 2 of the buttons at the same time, so you get kind of in-between settings. So now you've got up to 10 possible settings on this instead of 4. Bonus. As was the style at the time, the next obvious step was to turn it digital, because nobody would have thought back then that some point in the future, digital would be a bad word. So they replaced those messy and noisy bucket brigade circuits with digital delays. The DC2 ran from 85 to 88, and it was replaced with the DC3, the digital dimension. Except apparently there was a trademark on that name in Japan, so if you got one from Japan from 89 to 93, it was called the Space D. Same thing on the insides though. The DC3 also ditched that 4-button interface and went with this 4-knob traditional layout. So we get rate and depth, like a traditional chorus pedal, plus EQ and overall effect intensity. And I think it sounds good. I think it sounds a lot like the DC2. Unfortunately, the DC2, DC2 Waza, and DC3 are all still pretty expensive, at least by Boss measures. The DC2W, however, is just the best all around. It's got the least noise, the best components. It's got the 2 modes you can go between. It's got the thing with the buttons you can do up here. So unless you're a collector and you're trying to get all of them, this is the one you want right here. If you want to scratch the itch of the sound for a little less money, TC Electronic made the 3rd Dimension Chorus, and you can still pick these up for pretty cheap on all the sites. It does something pretty similar to the DC2, but it's mono only, and it's not exactly the same as the real thing. But for 50 bucks, might as well pick one of these up. Or you could pick up the CE20 Chorus Ensemble, which has a bunch of great digital chorus sounds. But really, this is just a wonderful pedal. I recommend it to everyone. You can get it for like 80 bucks usually. But what we really care about here is that it has a dimensional D mode. And it's got a couple settings you can cycle between over here on this knob. And man, I just think that sounds pretty darn good. The newest, latest hotness, the MD500, has a dimension mode as well. I don't have an MD500, so I can't really comment, but suffice to say, Boss has this effect down, so I'm sure it's great. So if you're looking to add a little bit of thickness to your sound, but you don't want to go all... Instead of buying another variant of the CE2, which might not be what you're actually looking for, think about the dimension effect. Also, hey, I'd like to thank you for hitting subscribe on my videos. It means a lot, and I really appreciate the appreciation. And I'll see you on the next Stompbox Breakdown.